Barr is a local nature reserve, which means it's both for people and wildlife. In this video, we're going to give you a brief introduction into some of the plants and animals you may see when you visit this fantastic site.
Barr is made up of lots of different habitats, places where wildlife can live. And one of the main habitats that you'll find here is heathland. In this part of the country, there was a huge expanse of heathland. As well as Barr, you'll also find heathland down the road to the east in Sutton Park, then to the north at Shire Oak Park and on Brownhills Common, and a little further on Cannock Chase. At one time, all of these sites were linked together in a large area of lowland heath.
You may be surprised to know that heathland is not a natural habitat, unlike woodlands and wetlands. It's actually man-made. It was created about 5,000 years ago when our ancestors cleared massive areas of forest to grow crops. What they didn't realise was that the soil wasn't particularly good for this purpose, so instead they let their livestock graze the plants that could grow here. This turned out largely to be heather, gorse and broom. The heather was also harvested by the farmers for thatching the roofs of their houses. All this activity prevented trees from growing back to these areas, but other animals were able to adapt to living here. As we explore Barr, we're going to keep a lookout for the plants and animals that make heathland their home.
And it's not just heathland species. You can find animals and plants in other important habitats here too. We have mixed woodland with lots of different tree species, meadows, hedgerows and amenity grass areas, all of which are home to many interesting and different types of wildlife. Add to this all the farmland that surrounds the beacon and you'll see that it's a great place to visit and to discover some amazing wildlife right on your doorstep. This is a really nice little bee that I've just got out of this foxglove. It's one of the common bumblebees that you'll see in your garden, and it's actually called the garden bumblebee. And this bee is a male, and I can tell he's a male because he's got quite narrow back legs, and that's because the males don't need broad legs for carrying pollen because they basically don't do any work or carry any pollen. So I know that he won't be able to sting me because male bees don't have a sting, they just don't have the body parts. Bees are in decline, and we think that it probably is largely to do with pesticide use. Areas like this, which are managed sympathetically with nature and surrounded by urban areas, are absolutely perfect for bees because urban areas don't tend to have the heavy pesticide use that agricultural areas do. So it's a bit of a haven for them. So it's a great site for a great little bee. And I'll show you that he's definitely male and won't sting me. Oh. I've got here 2 more bees that were just found on this site, and they've got a very special relationship. Basically, this bee is the early bumblebee, and she's a worker in a hive, and this bee is a 4-coloured cuckoo bee, and cuckoo bees take over the hives of normal bumblebees and use their workers. So this is a cuckoo bee of this bee.
The raven is the biggest bird in the crow family. It's all black with a large bill and long wings. When it flies, it has a diamond-shaped tail. Ravens eat carrion. That's other birds or mammals that have died or been killed, including roadkill. You can spot them all year round.
Kestrel is a familiar bird of prey which can be seen hovering along the roadside or hedgeline, looking for its next meal, a mouse or a vole. Kestrels have distinct chestnut brown backs and wings. Females have a brown head too, but males a grey head. As with a lot of bird species, the females are less colourful. Kestrels are on the RSPB Amber List, which means that their numbers have declined by up to 49% in the last 25 years.
The speckled wood butterfly is brown with cream spots and is found in woodland like this. with open areas and dappled sunlight.
One of the animals that you're not likely to see if you come up to Barbeacon during the daytime is a bat, and the reason for this is that they're nocturnal. You're more likely to see them at around dusk during the summer months, and because of this, every year on Barbeacon we organise special bat walks. One of the species bats that you are likely to see up here on Barbeacon is the common pipistrelle, and I have one here to show you. This is Macy, and she is about 2 weeks old, and she's pretty small. But even when she's fully grown, she'll still fit inside a matchbox, and that's because the pipistrelle is the UK's smallest species of bat. But here on Barbeacon, we've also got the UK's largest species of bat, which is the noctule. Now Macy here can see about as well as I can, which at night is not very well, so when she's fully grown and released, she'll find her way around at night by echolocating, using sound to see. Now, Macy's going to be fed up and released, and I have a special licence to handle her. But bats are a protected species throughout Europe. The classic heathland plant is of course heather. It flowers from August to September. Right now it's July, so the plant that you can see flowering is actually called bell heather. Now heather's widespread throughout the UK, but if you come to Barbeacon, you can see three kinds: heather, bell heather and cross-leaved heath.
We're going to look at two species now, tree species. The first one is the Scots pine. Really important to this site. It was first planted in 1744 by the then owner William Scott, and then 2,000 were planted in 1919 by Colonel Wilkinson to celebrate giving over the site to the people of Walsall. Really good for the pine cones for small mammals, squirrels. Right, we'll go and find another tree species now. Here we have the oak, with the recognisably lobed leaves. Really important at a British woodland. This broadleaf, which basically means it drops its leaves in autumn and winter. It can sustain over 280 different species of insects.
The green tiger beetle was discovered at Barbeacon for the first time in 2012. And what happened was, in the winter of 2011, we created lots of areas of bare earth, these scrapes. The idea was to attract mining bees, but we also happened to attract green tiger beetles as well. The green tiger beetle is one of 40,000 species of ground beetle throughout the world, and one of 350 in the UK. What they absolutely love is this sandy, open soil in which they can dig their burrows for their larvae. If you're going to go hunting for tiger beetles, the best time to do it is on a dry, sunny day like this between April and September. They're pretty easy to recognise. They're a medium-sized beetle with a shiny metallic green back with cream spots and really big jaws that they use to hunt their prey, which is caterpillars, spiders and ants.
Here we have some gorse, which is a spiky shrub species, an evergreen species, likes free-flowing draining soil and acidic soil. Really spiky, it flowers from April to June, really bright, nice yellow flowers. Does flower all year round as well. Fantastic for wildlife in terms of shelter and food for small birds and small mammals. And also the flowers do smell of either almond or coconut. I think it's more coconut, but if you are going to smell it, make sure you don't spike yourself on the nose. And of course, there are lots of other species that we could have mentioned, including bluebells, buzzards, green woodpeckers, great spotted woodpeckers, mammals including the grey squirrel, rabbit, wood mice and common shrew, so keep a lookout.
And remember that you can keep up to date with events and wildlife sightings on Barr Beacon and in Walsall by following us on Facebook and Twitter. We hope you've enjoyed the video and good luck looking for wildlife in Walsall.